better from here.
Nope.
Nope.
Hello.
Hello. Welcome to Honk. No, Honk Out. It's like we had 1 week of break. It feels already like vacation. I don't know, but it's funny, Brad, because you are in my time zone and I'm in yours. We just like switched continents this week, both of us.
So we are both
So
jet. This is the Honk Out 12, the jet lag edition.
jet lag, yeah. So I'm completely awake. It's not. It's supposed to be 8 a.m. in the morning. I'm not a morning person, and I'm completely
I'm
awake.
super awake. I'm so awake. I wasn't just napping before this. We're both super awake.
I'm glad that you did the nap because other than that, you might be like,
I know. I almost napped through this, just so everyone knows. I almost didn't wake up in time for this, but I did. It's 5 p.m. and
it's
I'm
5
ready to
p.m.
go.
I feel it's like also not the best week to have a jet lag because of Cloudflare Developer Week. I feel it's harder to like, keep up with all the things they release because you're also like in your own like motion of understanding your body in a different time zone. And then you want to follow up with new stuff. But yeah, maybe I don't know what was surprising for you so far, or what was the thing you can I say surprising, but like what did you like a lot in Developer Week so far? Is there a favorite feature
Oh,
or thing they released?
okay, putting me on the spot. There was some stuff with WebRTC that I thought was interesting. I can't remember if that was today. Kind of a development kit for working with real-time stuff. That seemed really cool. Free durable objects.
Yeah, I
So
wanted to say that.
that's a huge winner. Just because, yeah, people should be able to play with these things without having to put up a credit card. So that's super nice. We'll talk about durable objects next week because I'm going to be honest, it's a terrible name. It's a very accurate name, but it's just just like
It's also confusing in itself, right? So it's like, but I think it's a good point. I was also excited to see that durable objects are free. I'm also excited as a workflow passion lover that workflows are GA now. So um, that's nice.
uh,
But there's something else that comes to your mind.
oh yes, of course. It's what we're talking about today. Because the announcement post mentioned Honc, and linked out to a bunch of Honc and Fiberplane stuff, which is the deploy to worker button.
Woohoo!
Yeah, I wish I had a thing that made ta-da emojis. Why is this cool? Besides, that we got to collaborate on it a little bit. So it reminds me of the good old Heroku days. One of the cool
Mhm.
things that Heroku deployment platform did was on your GitHub repo, you could just have a button that said deploy to Heroku, and it would instantly deploy a code base so that you could see it live. So that now exists for Cloudflare workers, which is awesome. But on top of that, so like the basic thing that it does is it creates a new Git repo on your GitHub account. It handles provisioning all of the bindings for Cloudflare services. So like setting up a D1 database or an R2 bucket or things like that. It bundles and deploys the worker. And then as like a bonus, so you have a new GitHub repo, it's already deployed just because you pressed a button. And then anytime that you push to main, it will automatically deploy that code. And anytime that you create a feature branch, you'll get a preview URL for that feature branch.
That's super cool.
Yeah, which is so it's like it's an added bonus because it's like, oh, okay, you already have CI ready
So
to go.
there are some GitHub actions, I guess, in the back that take care of that. Like once you have that forked, and then what you was describing as like pushing and updating or deploying to workers. I mean, I haven't tested it, and I think we just should do it live because to
Yep.
see what it is, and maybe then we can go a little bit more into the details how we implemented it. But I will go and share my screen. And yeah, here we are in the Honk repo, actually. You can see it, right? So let me know if I need to zoom in.
Nice to if you, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
that's good.
I mean, it's not the Honk main page, it's the example where we maintain a few of the things that we think people get a easier time to get started with Honc with different technologies. We have Place Goose here. We have the web uptime monitor, and we have the goose joke generator, and there are a few more, but those three, we can see already this shiny new button here, right? So we can actually kind of get this code now on our repo as you explained the process, and then deploy. Should I click it?
I think you should click it.
Oh my God.
Ta-da-da. All right. We're going to see it in all of its glory. Okay. Nice. All right. So you're on the page where you need to like wire things together. So, you need to, okay, this is fine. You need to connect your GitHub account to your.
Okay, I haven't done this.
But
could that read? Wait, now we have a problem. I use my iPhone camera and there's authentication. Wait a moment.
Please, we appreciate your patience, everyone. Well,
while I'm authenticating, I didn't expect that. Is my I can't see that, but did my normal camera turned on, or am I turned off now?
Your camera is no longer visible, but it's okay because your screen is visible, and that's the.
Okay. I can try to wait. There it is.
Oh, we can see your 2FA code. We should remove this when we
yeah
upload the video. All right.
No, we don't want to create it.
No, you don't need to make it private.
Need the KV, okay. I guess it's
yeah. KV. Don't worry about that'll be cool. We don't actually use the KV namespace for this, but it will provision one for you.
Okay. And then we have the D1. I think that's in there, right? So we store the goose jokes.
Yep. And this should you shouldn't have to add any additional build command or deploy command. It should just work.
But there is this is provided here. Should I leave it?
Yeah. That's the default.
Okay.
And
do I need any tokens?
Nope.
Nope. Okay. Cool. Wait, I tried to turn on my camera again. Sorry. Yeah. So now is my.
All right. So what's happening under the hood? Cloudflare is going to clone that repository. After it clones the repository, it's going to look through the what am I thinking of? It's going to look for the Wrangler TOML or Wrangler JSON. And then it's going to figure out, okay, I need to enable this tool or provision this tool. So in this case, there is a D1 database. So it's going to look for the D1 database and then create it for you, which can be kind of a pain. Or not a pain, but it's been a hiccup that I don't necessarily like about some of the Honc stuff of going to production. Is there's a lot of like, oh, I need to create this database, take this ID, put it here, rerun this command, and
I mean, we had a whole stream about that. I remember that when we talked about taking D1 to production.
Yep.
But it's cool that it's doing that under the hood for me, so I don't have to do it.
I think definitely next thing for us is to.
See.
You see now. So it's.
The logs. Here are the logs. They just disappeared quicker than No, where are the deploy logs?
I think it just. They disappeared.
They disappeared because I saw the migration happening in the table, but now that is there, I have my private goose joke generator, and here it is.
And it works.
Do I also, interestingly enough, but I now also have this repo, I guess, right, on my GitHub account, so it should be there.
Yeah. And so it has some actions attached to it. And those actions are the ones that handle, like, when you push to this repo now, you will deploy it again. So let's see. Nice. Oh, this is great. So it just took the folder for the goose joke generator in create honc app repo and then just put it here. Did CI looks like it got mad about something, but it's still working. If you open the package.json,
Where are you packaged there?
This is the most fun we'll ever have on the stream, is looking through a package JSON. If you zoom in just like 2 or 3 ticks, plus.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine. Why not? Okay, what we did to make this work is extremely simple. You have the deploy that already existed. So under scripts, then deploy. That comes with every single Honc template. What we added was that post deploy immediately below it. And that runs a special migration command, which is db migrate dtw. And if you look at what that command maps to, which is like on line 10, it runs Wrangler D1 migrations apply db -- remote. So that's the thing that connects to your remote database and applies the migrations. If you are an extremely astute watcher, you'll notice that this is a slight change on our usual migration commands. And what the change is that, and this was something that both the PM from Cloudflare, Nevi, who was spearheading this, and myself learned through this process, is that when you run Wrangler, you can actually pass it the binding name for your database instead of the actual name of your database when
So it's like
yeah.
DB is binding here and not the.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so this is a little bit in the weeds, but the reason that we kind of need to do this for templatized repos, like repos that can have the workers deploy to workers button, is that yeah, it avoids a situation where someone changes the database name and or possibly already has a database with the same name on their account. And so it's a bit more, it's a simpler way to like reference the database from the Wrangler TOML or the Wrangler JSON. But yeah, that was a learning for me. It's like, oh, I didn't know you could even do that. I don't think it's officially recommended all the time, but it was very useful for this project.
And just a quick question: what is the entry point? I mean, what is called if I click the button deploy to GitHub? What do I actually call? Do I call this script directly, or how does it work?
So that's the last 2 parts. Actually, can you go back to the Cloudflare dashboard? I think if you go to, okay, so under workers and pages on the left, go there. If you click, okay, wait. If you click create, the create button. Yeah, so you have this like import to repository on the right. Scroll down. All right, you guys scroll down a little bit. Yeah, clone a repository via git URL. So that's basically what's happening. Is like you're using this thing. So if you clicked that,
it asks me.
Yeah, you can give it a URL to anything on GitHub. It'll try to clone it, and then we kind of tell it like, okay, give it this database and run these commands when you go to deploy it. So the 2 things that were important was like a build command, which wasn't necessary because that was part of our deploy command. But if you have a build script in your package JSON, it will execute that automatically. And then for the deploy command, it's set to npm run deploy, which is what we use. All the templates for Cloudflare workers use to deploy applications. And then what we wanted to do was, so after it's deployed, you have the guarantee that the D1 database has been provisioned. So that's why we use a post-deploy hook in order to run migrations against the database.
Cool.
Yeah. And that post-deploy script is just like npm, they're called like a lifecycle, like script, lifecycle event for a script or something. I forgot what it's called. But post-deploy means it runs after deploy, and it happens.
And I think there's also a blog post on the Cloudflare page that describes in detail how you could add this to your own repos, right? I think I saw something on the Cloudflare blog.
I think so. The announcement post, if if you look for like deploy to worker, is good. Deploy to worker button. Dev week deploy to worker button. Skip the setup. Deploy worker.
Aha, there it is.
Yeah, there's Nevi's picture.
And that's and yeah, I guess if you don't have D1, it's easier, right? So then you don't have to have the special script for like putting D1 into the remote setting.
Yeah, I mean that's specific. Like D1 will exist. It's just we have that post deploy thing to run migrations and make sure the database is up to speed, up to the latest version. The schema is right. I think I feel like there's another fun learning from this, but I might. Oh, maybe that was it. But yeah, there was a lot of like back and forth with the Cloudflare team. That was fun. We uncovered a very fun bug, which I hope it's okay to talk about. It seems like it's okay to talk about. Where
you already started. You cannot like you have to. I'm not super curious. You cannot skip this.
Well, so like we got to test it out. We were very excited, and it just wasn't working. And Mies, our CEO, and myself were just kind of like we were looking at logs. We just had it was the strangest ways in which it was breaking, where sometimes it looks like it was kind of working and then it wasn't, and maybe it would clone the repo but not the entirety of the repo. And it turns out that like a lot of our templates have I think the database name and the database ID are the same, because we treat the database ID as kind of this like temporary thing. So this is on me. I was just like, oh, let's give it the same. This is like something I did randomly, because normally you're supposed to create the database yourself and then put the ID of the database you created into your configuration file. So it turns out there's a bug on their side that like would mess things up if your database name and your database ID was the same. And so like we broke something on their end, but that's why you get people to test things, because then you encounter those strange cases like that.
I mean, I guess that's the fun part, right? You think you have everything covered, but then like you run into those cases still, and yeah, I mean, it makes it better in the end anyhow. So I think it's good to talk about it as well. So I think that was allowed.
Yeah. But yeah, at the end of the day, like the nice thing about this is, if you want to get started with a deployed app right away, we have a bunch that are all Honc templates, and so it simplifies a lot of the, like if you know you're going to go to production with what you're building, it saves you a lot of steps in getting a template. So like you can just take one of the example apps and work with those, and yeah.
Yeah, I think that's super cool. So like now instead of like we can skip the development phase, we just do the deploy to worker thing. We have something live and then we start developing. So we can change the order. We first deploy and then we develop. kind of.
There's a guy from Cloudflare, Boris Tane, who's everyone should follow on Twitter. He's very vocal about the fact that he like doesn't do local development and hasn't for like several years, where it's just like everything he does is just immediately deployed. And it's an effective way to like, there's a whole category of bugs you don't catch until your code is on the scary internet. So it's kind of just like practice how you play.
I mean, I guess that depends what you develop and what you want to deploy without having it locally tested. But yeah, I mean, I think it's also fun to ship things fast or to have something fast. Cool. I think with that, we can say the jet lag edition is over, and maybe next week we are in the time zone we are supposed to be, also with our hats. And and we talk about, I think that's a good idea to like next week when our brains are also functioning a little bit better again. We talk about durable objects.
Yes, and I want to say, so I took a swing at the naming earlier, and like durable objects are extremely cool. And once it's like, I'm excited to talk about them. I don't know. I'll leave it at that. I just like, it's an amazing thing that Cloudflare built. And it's sad to me that there's like a mental hurdle to people adopting it because it just like, they hear the name and don't know what it is or does.
I was just thinking you come up with a better name because we were thinking like, oh, I have an alternative name. Maybe next week you have an alternative name for it.
So well, part of the teaser, they wanted to call it actors or agents.
Agents.
Yeah, which is funny because now the Cloudflare Agents SDK is built on top of durable objects. But the reason, and I don't know why they didn't choose those names, but it does fit what's called the actor pattern in software. It's kind of almost an equally intimidating name at a certain point. It's a little obscure, but yeah, I don't know. It is what it is. At the end of the day, it is kind of like, it's not complicated, but it is just like slightly different than what people are used to, and there's not a universal name across all of software development for it. So durable objects it is.
And I wanted to say, now that they have AI agents, I'm kind of happy that they don't call durable object agents, because that could get also really confusing then, like you are like, oh, is that the agent that I also use for other things, or is that my AI agent? You really have to be very precise with documentation then and all of that. So it's maybe good that it's not agent. So
Yeah.
But
every agent is a durable object.
Yeah,
but not every durable object is an agent, or is it? I don't know. We'll find out next week.
We'll find out next, and with that we can end the stream. So see you next week.
Okay, well, I'm gonna say my dog wants to say goodbye. Actually, she doesn't want to. All right, sorry, dog. She's gonna say bye.
Bye.
Bye.